So if you're breaking all these things down to somebody and they refuse to pick up on it, what you do? That's why Christ said, you find a fool. Let him be in his will. In other words, then he came back and said, cast not your pearls before swine. Now, ain't talking about Esau now, that's talking about our people. Because the ones that don't want to listen, they're like a hog. And if you casting your pearls before the swine, then after a while, you're going to be down there with them, and you're going to be tussling on the ground because there's going to be a fight, right? Yeah, exactly. That's what Christ said, leave them alone. Cast not your pearls before swine. Why? What's the rest of it?
And give not that which is holy unto dogs.
What's the rest of it?
Lest they trample them under their feet.
Okay.
Lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you.
Right. So if you stand around there trying to convince them and you see they ain't going, they arguing with you and all that, what's going to develop?
We're going to be fighting.
So when they start swinging at you, what you going to do? You going to stand there? Huh? So Christ said, rather than going through all them changes and letting it get to that point, you see the fool step off from it.
Unity's number one.
We about to get it poppin', man. You know what I'm saying, man? Disrespect to the elders, man. Yo, Karatazaya. Let's get at these cats, man. You heard? Kwam Yasser Allah.
One West alphabet, why you wanna disrespect? One West, we the best, we've been put to the test. Highways and byways, Saturday through Friday, banging on these heathens, I know you hate to see it. One West alphabet, why you gotta disrespect? One West, we the best, brought the truth to the West. Highways and byways, Saturday through Friday, banging on these heathens, I know you hate to see it.
You hating on the 7? Hating on the 7? Why you hating on the 7? You just came in at 11. We've been teaching like forever. You be like whatever. What you think you better?
Did you get that letter?
So that for that cheddar, switch doctrines like the weather. Pervert the gossip, never. My diadem is leather. My garments never pleather. Sure, all he does it better. We Power Rangers clever. Second Tim, 1 and 7. One wife, never. Let me show you better. Original 7 elders. Marsh up like what better. All of y'all are hard better. Yeshaya sharp better.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
We overthrew the Roman Empire under the great magnificent leadership of Servius Septimius. They named the month after him. The month of September is named after Servius Septimius. And from the time that Servius Septimius overthrew Rome in 193 AD, for the next 1,000 years, Israelites became a great conglomerate of power throughout Europe, Africa, the United States, the islands, to put it in a nutshell, the planet Earth. White people were our servants and our slaves for 1,000 years during that time. And the ones that were too much of an animal or a beast to be allowed to come down and be servants for us were pushed up in the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia, and different parts of Europe. And they were known as the Khazar Empire under Cajun Bulla. They were known as the Huns, the Gauls, the Lutz, all of these different names that they had, and they were animals. They were wild men up there in those caves. They always talk in school about the Roman Empire falling, but they never tell you how did Rome fall. Rome fell by the hands of a black man named Servius Septimius. Subsequently, on other tapes that we have recorded here at the Israeli School, we've shown much evidence that Servius Septimius was a black man. And he fought against, he had many rivals like Persinius Niger. Persinius Niger was a black man that was the rival of Servius Septimius. Then he had Maxima. They named the car after Maxima, called the Maxima, whom was killed on a bridge. Then there was Galerius. There were many people. I'm not going to go into all the different names, but I'm going to go into some facts and many different archaeological records and books that I happen to have in a vast collection that the Most High blessed me to have, and to interpret them correctly through research and through using the Bible as a guiding line, we have been able to determine and to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Hebrew Israelites that were called Christians during the time of the so-called Holy Roman Empire. The reason it was called the Holy Roman Empire is because the holy people were ruling it. The holy people were slaves under the Roman Empire for a long time until it was overthrown by the holy people. Now we're going to go in the book of Romans, the first chapter, I believe it is, Romans the 11th chapter, and the 11th and 12th verse, and we're going to read some facts, and then we're going to show some archaeological facts to back up the statements that we make. And the young man that's reading for me today is a young priest by the name of Shayawa. Read.
Romans 11 verse 11. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall?
Have the Israelites stumbled that they should fall? We stumbled in our wickedness by not obeying the laws of the Supreme Being, and we fell for a certain dispensation of time. But we haven't fallen to the point where we're never going to rise up again. The Most High is going to raise us up and make us into a mighty nation once again. And this time we will rule the world for indefinitely.
The Most High forbid.
Paul said the Lord forbid, because the Israelites are not going to continue to be downrated and downtrodden and stepped on like a rug. We're going to be raised up from the ashes of America and brought into rulership of the planet Earth by the power of Yahweh, the Supreme Being, through his magnificent Son, Yahushua, being Jesus Christ. Read.
But rather through their fall,
our fall, read.
Salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
Salvation came to the devil, the so-called white man. Salvation came to the Japanese. Salvation came to the Chinese. Salvation came to the Arabs. What is the salvation that they all have now? Their rulership, their power, their authority, their place in the world today. The white man is a fool. He wakes up on a Sunday morning. He goes to church. He goes before a priest and asks him to pray for him to go to heaven. The fool does not realize that he is in his heaven. And his heaven is about to become a nightmare because it's going to be turned into hell. His heaven is falling apart all around. Here it is, September the what? Today's date is September the 20th. And they can't even open up all the schools in New York City because they have an asbestos problem. They've never had the type of perplexing problems that they're having today. Schools all closed up, hospitals closing, banks don't want to lend no money. Going to college, getting a degree today means nothing. You're just getting a degree and wasting money. When you come out, there's no job for you. Read.
For to provoke them to jealousy.
We fell. The Most High brought us down to provoke us to jealousy that we might wake up and do right. Read.
Now the fall of them.
Now if the fall of the nation of Israel, all 12 tribes,
be the riches,
because we were the richest nation on earth. And I'm going to prove that. Read.
Of the world.
Of the world. Now hold it there. If the falling away of the Israelites be the riches of the world, in other words, every nation on earth became rich through our fall. Is there any archaeological facts that bear witness to this? Let's see. We got a little book up here. What's the name of it? Crown Jewels of Europe. These crown jewels of Europe that you're going to see in this book are crowns that the kings of Israel were wearing in Europe during the time that they ruled Europe under the so-called Byzantine Empire and the many other empires that they had adopted, names that they adapted, but they were all Israelites. These crowns that they were wearing and this gold and all these jewelries and diamonds and so on and so forth were things that we went on the front of the image of this crown. You see little images of white people that appears to be white. But in reality, these images were black. And they sent their historians and scientists over to douse these so-called images down and make them appear to be white. But when I go in this book and show you what was on these crowns, you're going to see black faces. Now I want to show you what an Israelite king or queen or just a prince in Europe during medieval times, a Christian, what a Christian would wake up and drink out of in the morning. Now I'm going to show you on page 15, hold the microphone. This is just a common drinking cup. Take a good look at that. This cup is made out of solid gold, and it's embedded within pearls, rubies, diamonds, sapphires, with heavy embroidery and all type of embroidered work on it. This is what they would wake up in the morning and go in the kitchen and drink out of. That's why the Most High through Paul said the falling away of us became the riches of the world. Now they have all of these cups today in different museums, and a lot of these devils, these Edomites that are filthy rich, that run the Illuminati, have some of these cups in their houses, like the Rothschild family, the Rockefellers, the Gettys, and the DuPonts. But this is stolen property. This stuff all belongs to us. Now, if you look on the bottom of the cup, you see a little black man sitting right there in the center. That's a black king sitting right there. Look at him. And these devils are something. What they do is they see these images and they use a dye on it. They get all the dark paint off the face and try to make it look white.
Turn it back towards the camera.
Yeah. See that? I'm going to prove that these were black images on there when I show you some of the other cups that the chemical didn't work on. They use a chemical solution and they use witchcraft to dilute these faces on these images. I'm going to prove that while I'm holding this. Read Job 9:24.
Job 9 verse 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked.
The earth is given into the hands of the devil, the so-called white man. Read.
He covereth the faces of the judges thereof.
Even down to our drinking cups. He went and threw a chemical solution on it and took the black and brown dye off the faces of the images and made them appear to be white, as though he was drinking out of these cups, as though he's the one that created these cups. During this period of time, white people were drinking out of their grandfathers' skulls because they was pushed up in the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia, and other parts of Europe, and they were like animals up in those caves. They didn't know nothing about drinking cups. They didn't have sense enough to change underwears. These cups belong to Israelite kings and queens. Now I'm going to show you what it says here about this cup. It says, the Goslar Reliquary. This extraordinary object is composed of a cup in agate. Agate is like very expensive out of the ruby, the gem. It's like a gem out of that world. It's extremely expensive. Composed in agate, dating from the Roman epoch, which was set in gold in the 10th or 11th century. We were still running things in Rome during that period, A.D. And then used as the relinquishment for a skull of a saint. Later on, it was used for that. But was encrusted with two diadems of gold and precious stones. One a simple band, the other a sumptuous closed crown. It is thought that these two crowns belong to the imperial, listen at this good, belong to the imperial German dynasty. Because we controlled Germany up until the 18th century. We got facts on that. Of the Hohenstaufen, and that they came originally from the pilgrimage of the German cathedral, because we had cathedrals all built in Germany. Let me show you something else again. Spare with me 1 second. Oh, we got a whole lot of stuff we're going to show you. Like on this crown here. Now this is the crown of Charlemagne. On here he's black. You can still see the black spots on his face where they threw the dye. If the cameraman gets a close shot of that. That's King Charlemagne. Now look at it good. You can see little black dots on his face.
Oh, still.
See that face? How you can see the black spots all over it? They threw a chemical on there to get the blackness off his face and to make them look red. Like them. They cover the faces of the judges there.
Could you try to point to the black spot by looking at the TV?
They got a pencil. all on his face, you can see that that face was disfigured. It was disfigured by an archaeologist and a scientist. They used chemicals to get the black paint off the face. This was an image of a black man, and I'm going to prove it. Just bear with me. You haven't seen anything yet. These crowns, just one crown might be worth $10 million. These crowns are worth multi-millions and millions of dollars. Bear with me 1 second. And I'm going to prove what I'm saying to you. On these crowns were black images. And I'm going to prove that beyond the shadow of a doubt. Because when we say something here in the Israeli school, we believe in proving it. We just don't say stuff to hear ourselves. We bring out archaeological facts to back up what we're saying. That's how you get things done, by bringing in the facts. Now in this book, the devil, the so-called white man, comes out and admits that there were black princes. But he won't tell you who all these black princes were. Now listen at this. On page 70 it says, Imperial State Crown details showing the Black Prince's Ruby. Now why would they call it this big ruby right here, the Black Prince's Ruby? Because this ruby on the bottom, not one on the top, this ruby on the bottom, look at that. This ruby belonged to Edward the Black Prince. Now I want to show it in writing, where you got the little writing over here where it says right there in the caption. Right there. Imperial.
Let it settle.
Imperial State Crown detail showing what? The black, not the white, the Black Prince's ruby.
Hold it still. Uh-huh.
You see that?
That's good.
Now I want to show something else about this. If this was a Black Prince's ruby, how did he become a prince? And how is it that he's black? Because blacks overthrew the Roman Empire and established their empire all over Europe and the rest of the world as we know it. Edward the Black Prince was one of the main guys that did that. Here's another writing about him that says the Black Prince's ruby again on page 70, up here in this paragraph. Because he was a prince in Europe, he was an Israelite, and he was black. See that? The Black Prince's ruby.
Just hold it. Okay.
Now, why did the devil, the white man, put that in there? The Black Prince's ruby. Because he knew that these people that was ruling Europe were black during the so-called Dark Ages. That's why they called it the Dark Ages. Now I'm going to show you some other stuff in this book. Paul said the falling away of us became the riches of the Gentiles. Look at this crown. This is St. Edward's crown. Imperial State Crown of St. Edward. All the saints were black. Now look at that crown right there. See how rich we were? We lived like kings and queens. And today you got the devil running around, the white man running.
Let me stop.
Okay, in this book called Art Treasures of Russia, it's showing in this book the different rulers of Russia. Just like in this other book I have on the crown jewels of Europe, it's showing the jewelry that the princes of Europe and Russia and all these different places, the crowns and the swords and the different jewelry that they own, that has been captured and seized and put in different monasteries and museums. Now, right there, that's a picture of St. George the Dragon Slayer in the front of this book, and he's black. Clearly the image of a black man on a horse. That's in Russian, slaying a dragon. You devils at home, these simple skinheads and the rest of you running around with a bald head, you don't know nothing. Because if you had any sense, you would realize that you are none of these people that you proclaim yourself to be. The only one that you are, according to the Bible, is the devil. That's the only thing that you've ever been. Satan, Lucifer, and the devil. That's all you ever been. The holy people are the Israelites. Now, if the brother could turn to this page, I want to show a picture. I hope you didn't lose that page. Turn. We got the army with Vladimir the Great in it, Ivan the Terrible. The other guy's name is Momak, I believe. And up above here, the cameraman is going right to, there's 3 angels over the head of Ivan the Terrible, and they made the picture kind of small, showing this is Ivan the Terrible on a horse, and they tried to make this image small because they didn't want you to see it. With 3 angels above his head, 1, 2, 3 angels, and it's a black man. Now, to the rear of him is Vladimir the Great on a horse. See the man with the crown on his head? That's Vladimir the Great. And he's black. Now, as the cameraman goes downward in the book, he's going to see larger photographs of them clearly showing the black, like right here. Right there. Stop right there. Look at all those black faces. This is the army that Vladimir the Great was in, Ivan the Terrible.
That's his horse. That's his horse.
That's his
They
horse.
took the bottom of his horse, but they didn't get in. Everybody in the picture is black.
Right.
Now, he's supposed to be black too. Now, this is Mortimer, Prince Vladimir right behind him. That's Vladimir right behind him.
Right, on the horse.
Just like on this picture here, the small picture.
Right. So how they gonna have everybody else in the picture black?
On the small picture, see, that's Vladimir in the middle right there.
Right.
You hold the picture still, hold the book still, bro. And in the front, they got Ivan the Terrible.
Right.
Then they got Vladimir there. Okay, you can see that he's black in the other picture. So why couldn't they make a big picture?
Right, like they made
of Ivan the Terrible.
Right, they didn't want nobody to see that.
But the whole army is black.
Right.
So is it logical that a white man gonna be in front of all this army?
Right, it doesn't make sense. And it might have a lot to do with the fact that they got this so-called...
And everybody's black in here.
They got the devil on trial.
St. George is black. He's in the red cape right there.
That's him.
And Alexander Nespri is in front of him with the red banner. Russians, they're all black.
All black. Now they got this so-called Jew on trial that they want to lock up, and they calling him Ivan the Terrible. This is a joke, man.
Yeah, because Ivan the Terrible was black.
Yeah,
like his army.
Look at all those black faces.
Now let me get the writing so they can see what this is talking about.
Right.
You just hold the book still.
Right there. See what it says in 1552. The Tsar Ivan the Terrible defeated the Tatar
You don't move the book, brother.
horde, which the Tatars were nothing but so-called white people that had converted to Islam, and captured the city of Kazan.
Who? Ivan the Terrible?
Ivan the Terrible, a black man.
Right.
From Russia.
Okay, I'm going to cut it.
As we were just showing you, photographs of Ivan the Terrible, Vladimir the Great, and their whole army, how they conquered the devil, the so-called white man, in 1552. And they, like the Cathedral of St. Basil that's still standing today, it's looks like a church with an ice cream cone top on the top of it. That was, they have images and effigies of St. Basil in there, but that cathedral was actually built by Ivan the Terrible. And we just showed you that Ivan the Terrible was black. Now let's show you what the devil, the white man, sees in our fall. This is the crown of Ivan the Terrible. Look at it. Solid gold.
Bottom picture?
It's top picture, top picture, top picture, right there. That's the crown of Ivan the Terrible. Take a good look at that. Black people were wearing that. And we just showed you that in the earlier photograph. Them brothers was living high standards. Now, when we go underneath that crown, this is the seat of Ivan the Terrible, a solid gold seat encrusted with jewels and pearls and sapphires and rubies. That chair is worth probably about at least $50 million. Just that seat alone, because of the expensive diamonds and rubies and sapphires in it, and the fact that it's made out of solid gold and embroidery. By today's standards, it would be worth about $50 million. Just that one seat or more. Now, is that good living? That's good living. Now, I want to show you a couple other things in here in this book. Like I was telling you that the devil, he covers the faces of the judges there. See how on this, this is actually our Louis this is the chest of Louis the 14th. Louis the 14th's chest. This is what it shows, that all these images on here were black, and the white man, being the devil, has tried to deface the very chest. Now look at the black face there. How's that going to be black and all of a sudden this one is white? Then over here, This one is white, but you can see brown paint all around the hair and the edges of it and all that, but this one is solid black. Then up here, this was black, and they tried to redden that. Look at that. And they made that one white when it was the same color as which one? This one. We told you Louis the First, Louis the Second, all of them Louis were black. And that's why they had black images on their chests and so on and so forth. And I want to show you something else. I think it's the crown of St. Edward. Check this out. No, this is the crown of St. Stephen. The crown of St. Stephen. And this was the crown of St. Stephen. And they have this today. They have this over there in Hungary. That's where they have it today. But look on this crown of St. Stephen. Clearly the image of a black man. Look at that. Black. You see that? Because those was black people that was ruling all of Europe. Now get a white man out of that.
Yeah, bring that a little closer. Push it out over the table a little closer.
The guy that's sitting on the throne in the center is black. You see that? Now I want to show you a couple other things.
Hold it still. Yeah, you can see that.
It's a black man. Now I want to show you a couple other things. Let's see the type of scepters that the kings were holding and the type of swords they were going to battle with. We just showed you earlier a dynamic photograph of Ivan the Terrible, Peter the Great, Vladimir, all of those guys were in the same army, man. Now check this out. We're going to show you some of these crowns that they were wearing. This is the crown of William II. Look at this crown. And here you got the devil over here trying to wear the stuff, but these were black people wearing it. See that crown? That's out of sight. A white man didn't have that type of charisma or knowledge to make anything like that. How could a monkey running around in the caves eating out of his grandfather's skull know how to make a crown like this when they didn't have sense enough to change underwears? They wore underwears until it disintegrated off their body. That's the only time they changed it. Their underwears changed themselves because they disintegrated off their bodies when they were located in the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia. That's how nasty and filthy they were. Now that's an out-of-sight crown. And that's a scepter next to it. Out of sight. I want to show you a couple other things. Here, we're going to show you everything here at the Israeli school. Look at this crown. This is the crown of, this is another crown that William II was wearing. And they call it a county of the Holy Roman Empire from the 12th century. Holland came under Burgundy in the 15th century, and then in the 1500s under the Habsburgs. But this is the crown of William II. Again, another crown.
All of that was us rulers.
That was us rulers in Germany and Holland and all those places.
We were fighting each other.
We was the Habsburgs and all those people fighting one another. Look at that. Look at that. Out of sight. That's a solid silver crown encrusted with stones and jewels and so on and so forth. Now, just to add further truth to this.
Look at the sword, man.
Look at the sword. Yeah, get that sword. See, when they went to battle to fight, they went in style. They pulled out their best weapons. It looked like they was going to a banquet when they was going to war. They were so clean. Look at that.
That is a bad sword, ain't it?
Yeah, that's out of sight. And that's stolen property. That stuff belongs to black people, the Israelites.
Them are diamonds in that
Those
sword.
are diamonds and thrusted all in the sword. And let's mind you, this is how this sword looks today. This sword is hundreds and hundreds of years old, and look how it still looks today. It ain't all rusty and smudged up looking or nothing. That means we were experts at making what we made. Let me show you something else in here. Oh, there's a whole lot of goodies in this book. There's so many goodies in this book that you never get tired of looking at this book. When we conquered the world, we wanted everybody to know it. We made drinking cups and made a cup looking like the planet Earth. Look at that. The globe. And this is a drinking cup. What was that showing? That the Israelites was controlling the planet. Look at that. We were controlling the planet Earth. Let's see whose cup this is.
Wait, who's that down there in the corner?
This is Satan in the corner down here.
No, I mean on that globe.
On the globe.
Let me look back on it again.
Okay.
Are those fishermen down there?
Those, let me take a good look at that. No, those are like sailboats and so on, and those are different boats that we were using to go and gather different spices and so on and so forth. Now, this globe here was made by Eric the 14th, and this was in 1560, and we were still ruling over there at that time. This is in Norway and Denmark. We were still ruling in those and during that period. I want to show you just one more thing in here, and I want to go to another book. Because I already showed you earlier what I showed earlier was the diamond of Edward the Black Prince, the out-of-sight diamond. Bear with me 1 second, and we're going to drop some more nuclear bombs on you because all of this stuff is very important and very beneficial to our people, that they learned that they were the great people that had all of these riches and all of this wealth. So it all belongs to the nation of Israel. This is the bust, solid gold bust of a black woman. We're going to find out who she is. This is the Duchess of Bohemia, and this was in the, let's see what year, 14th century.
It's that one West, Mashallah, Yasha Allah. Please believe we had 7 elders, now we up to 10. We on our way back to the Sanhedrin. Two hands, five fingers, that's one West. It's twisted up. We street teachers, y'all bleacher preachers, and we don't stop till they get enough. You never want to come and disrespect the founders when you should be saying the water, how would they found us and grounded us in all the ways of the Torah.